Booyah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. One of the things we always talk about here on the channel is Justin Trudeau's draconian measures with Stephen Guilbeault when it comes to Alberta's ability to produce oil and bitumen in its market. It's one of the largest GDP growth sectors in Canada's economy. And with the new installation of Donald Trump as the 47th president of the United States, questions start arising. And I've seen many people asking online, is Keystone XL going to go through again? Are we going to see pipelines going to the United States? We've all heard Donald Trump say, drill, baby, drill. I'm happy to report today that we have tweets showing Danielle Smith now attending Donald Trump's inauguration, that she is going to be aggressively pushing Alberta's future, while we see contenders like Pierre Poilievre pushing for the Prime Minister's office next year. This is where we need to get our economy back on track. This is where we can help Canadians find affordable living again. Keep in mind that whether or not you live in Alberta, Alberta still contributes a very large sum of money to most provinces in the country in terms of equalization payments. I want to show this clip. Premier Danielle Smith saying Trudeau Liberals are jeopardizing Canada's relationship with the U.S. by foregoing ahead with an emissions cap when the White House seeks energy security. Again, Donald Trump wants to get more oil production in the country. She says we have the ability to offer that, and we do. We had the ability to provide other countries with liquid natural gas, or LNG as it's called. Justin Trudeau turning them down, saying, nope, we're not going to provide that. We're not going to contribute. The reasons for that, ladies and gentlemen, it has nothing to do with the environment. Follow the money. They have too many people in their pocket that are benefiting their bank accounts versus Canada's GDP. Let's take a listen to what Danielle had to say, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about her plans for the future.
Not bending on some of the direction they've taken, and will jeopardize our relationship with the United States, which is the largest trading relationship that we have, not only Alberta, but all of our provincial counterparts. We know one of the things that the new White House wants is energy security. We have the ability to offer that. And if you put on the table an emissions cap, which we know will cause a cap in production, you're not going to be able to negotiate in a way that's going to be best for Canada. So if they want to have a Team Canada approach, it means the emissions cap has to be off the table.
Now, Danielle has a very good point there, that with an emissions cap, it essentially cripples our ability to continue to make money, to continue to drill, to provide the energy requested by those officials. Showing here on this article that Danielle Smith has now registered to attend Embassy Trump inauguration party. She plans to attend the Canadian Embassy's inauguration party in Washington, where she is to remotely watch the swearing-in of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Her office says the event is to include Canadian and American officials, but it didn't name specific groups or individuals, and that's fine. Danielle, of course, is going to be making all necessary appointments to hopefully in the future sit down with President Trump to go over what Alberta can provide, or at least some of the people that are handling America's energy needs. Premier's press secretary says that Smith has also been invited to speak to a group of conservatives working on climate policy and will be using the trip as an opportunity to build relationships with the Trump administration. Prior to the U.S. election, United Conservative Party Premier was asked for her thoughts on its potential outcome, but appeared impartial. Smith's government has been cultivating relationships with Republicans and like-minded lawmakers in the U.S. The province announced earlier this week Smith has signed onto an energy pact with a group of 12 states in order to advocate for Alberta's energy interests south of the border. Again, Danielle, of course, realizing what we've all said all along and showing it in full force, that we all know the truth. Alberta's oil industry is what generates a large amount of Canada's GDP. How much? Well, let's take a look at that. This article came out back in August saying that Alberta remains the largest net contributor to Ottawa's coffers despite damaging federal policies. So just imagine what Alberta could be outputting if not for those emissions caps. If you want to know how much, it says here, according to a new study published by the Fraser Institute from 2007 to 2022, the latest period of available data, Albertans contribute $244.6 billion more in taxes and other payments to the federal government than they received in federal spending, more than 5 times as much as British Columbia or Ontario. The other 7 provinces received more federal dollars than they contributed to federal revenues. In other words, Alberta is by far the largest net contributor to Ottawa's coffers. It goes on to say that Alberta's large net contribution reflects its comparatively young population, fewer retirees, higher rates of employment, higher average incomes, and relatively strong economy. Alberta has a history of punching above its weight economically. For perspective, from 1981 to 2022, the province had the highest annual average economic growth rate in Canada, despite the dips in growth due to the 2014 oil price collapse and the coup in 2022. Alberta accounted for 17.9% of Canada's total economic growth, despite being home to just 11.6% of the country's population. That's a huge, huge number when you come down to it. And it always makes me question. Well, it questions without questioning. Why does the Trudeau government and why does Stephen Guilbeault and why do all these people constantly tell Alberta, we don't want you putting your products to market? If it's contributing that much to Canada's growth, if you're living in another province of the country, or if you're living in Alberta, you think about how much better our lives could be if we were simply allowed to get our products to market, not just in the oil industry. This is a government that has shown time and time again it's merely here to fatten their bank accounts and make the peasants beg for crumbs, so to speak. Let me know what you guys think down below. I guess question of the day, make sure to answer down below with a thumbs up on the content. Do you think Danielle Smith is making the right decision to go to Trump's inauguration to talk with his staff about hopefully bridging some gaps when it comes to Alberta's energy sector? Let me know your thoughts down below. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure as you're hitting that button, you click the bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show where I'm joined by my beautiful wife, Mrs. Fringe, as we talk about everything that's happened this week in politics, everything we know that's coming up in the week ahead, as well as some stories that are kind of quirky that don't always make the cutting room floor, as well as your Q&A. I always look forward to sitting down with you every week, as well as Mrs. Fringe, to hear about everything you guys have to say outside of making these videos. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you this Friday, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, here on the channel. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video and have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.